Hello, and welcome back to Humans in 5.
Today is the day we tackle one of the most beloved parts of being an anthropologist or an archaeologist, digging in the soil for clues about the past.
The English television show Time Team was all about this fascinating, exciting, and sometimes physically demanding part of learning about human life in the past. Today, we're going to give you a bit of an overview of the steps involved in excavation.
As always, reading up comes first. Archaeologists, anthropologists, and other types of researchers look at written documents, maps, and photographs related to the location and the time period they're interested in. They think about the kinds of questions they want to answer, why the time period and the location they're focusing on can help answer those questions.
They also make lists of the types of artifacts they're looking for. An artifact can be any object. For example, artifacts include containers, dwellings, and tools that have been made, affected, used, or modified in some way by humans and our closest relatives. Remember context? This is all important when it comes to making a plan for excavation.
Next comes getting out into the field. Before getting their spades and pickaxes going, archaeologists lay out a grid system. A grid system is useful in a lot of ways. Firstly, it helps mark out the boundaries of the site. Secondly, it is an organized way of recording finds as the excavation progresses. Archaeologists use different kinds of equipment to set up the grid, including measuring tape and instruments that help to determine differences in height between points above the surface.
All measurements of level and contour are taken from a set reference point called the datum point. It should be tied to a national standard, like sea level, for example. Each square of the excavation grid is referred to as a unit, and each unit is broken down using coordinate points, which represent a specific distance from the datum point.
Now that the grid is set up, excavators can start getting their hands dirty. Excavation works on the principle of stratigraphy, where layers of soil build on top of one another over time. Think of stratigraphy as a cake with multiple layers of cake and filling. Artifacts found in the lowest levels usually are older than ones found in the higher layers.
The topmost layer of soil has to be removed, usually by using shovels. Researchers have to make sure they don't miss any important finds, so they pass the soil through screens. Screens are like the sieves you might use to drain water from food when you're cooking. This allows excavators to look more carefully through the soil they're screening to find very small objects or human and animal remains.
The soil underneath the top layer will usually be much more harder and compacted together, so excavators use trowels to carefully remove soil in each unit. Excavators work their way through different layers of soil until they find something.
When an artifact is found, excavators record the location of the artifact in the soil it came from. This places the artifact relative to the datum point. This is recorded using the same instruments used to set up the grid.
Once the artifact has been recorded on the site, it is packaged and labeled. The label has unit information that matches the record made on the site map, so that all of the information can be tracked by researchers at a later date. These artifacts are taken to a laboratory to be measured, cleaned, and analysed. Specialists look at the construction of the objects, or they look at the age of the human and fossil remains found at the site. All of this information is then entered into a computer database.
Of course, there are many other activities that go into excavation. Before you do anything, you need to get permission from all the proper authorities. Excavators also take photographs of artifacts and the site. Excavations take time, planning, and you need to be flexible, as lots of different challenges can come your way.
The analysis of the artifacts you found is another very big job. Excavators and researchers use many little pieces of information and put them together, often over many years. There are many different techniques for dating artifacts and for determining how objects were made, how they were used.
All in all, excavations are exciting and interesting, but they are also challenging. But if you're interested, there are always many opportunities to get involved.
That's it from us. Thanks again from Humans in 5.